Our second reading lesson today. Who remembers what we talked about yesterday? Spencer, what we talked about yesterday? That's exactly it. Literal versus inferential thinking. So today, the same thing, but day two. We're going to go a little bit deeper today, okay? And I have an activity in a little while that I think y'all are going to enjoy. So let's go ahead and get started. All right. Yesterday, we talked about literal versus inferential thinking day one. Today is day two. We're still going to read Charlie McButton Lost Power. We're going to read a portion of it today and finish it tomorrow, okay? All right. So our connection, what is the difference between literal and inferential thinking? Who can tell us what literal thinking is from yesterday? Samaria?
Something that is true.
Yeah, and it's right there in front of you, right? You can put your finger on it, right? Like if it's in a book, you can find those words, and it's like, Mr. Jones is right there. But now inferential thinking is a little different. Weston, what's inferential
It's like
thinking?
you need to, like you know it, but you need to prove it or something.
Yeah, so is it directly stated in the text? No, you got to read between the what?
Lines.
Read between the lines, exactly. And a lot of times, like in our picture book, we can use pictures to help us understand what we're reading, right? Okay. So today, we're going to talk about our teaching points. Today, I'm going to show you how we observe so that we can infer. Yesterday, we used the word see instead of observe, so we're upgrading to a bigger word. Okay, everyone say observe.
Observe.
All right, so let's go to the next page. Y'all remember what this thing's called right here? I have it on the board and I have it over there. What kind of anchor chart is that? I remember?
Main.
A main anchor chart. Atta girl, good job. Main anchor chart. This is our main anchor chart. Same thing that's up here. Okay, so we have our two most common types of comprehension questions. Literal and inferential. We just said that literal is answers that are directly quoted from the text. It's right there. And it's usually is words like who, what, when, where, and why. Those kind of words can answer those questions. Like if I said, I went to the grocery store yesterday, and you asked me where, and I said Eagles. Okay? So that's the kind of question we can answer. Usually these are like cause and effect, or compare and contrast, fact and opinion, point of view, or author's purpose. And we're going to discuss all these things this year if you don't know what they mean, okay? Now, another type of question is inferential, like we talked about just a second ago. We got to read between the what?
Lines.
The lines to find the answer in the text. But instead of answering with these kind of words, we got to prove it. It's like being a lawyer. When you make inferences, you got to prove whatever it is you're trying to say, okay? And we answer inferential questions usually in things like sequencing, story elements, main idea, theme, and character traits. Those things usually aren't right in front of us. We got to figure it out, okay? Now, we also have a new living anchor chart today. Why is it called a living anchor chart? Aubrey?
Because it's directly from the story we're reading.
Yeah, so it's alive, right?
Yeah.
We're going to write on it. It's going to grow. Things grow, they are alive, correct? Okay, so when looking at a picture, there are things we can see that are literal. Those are things that we observe, okay? And they're right in front of us. These things help us make inferences. Remember yesterday we would read something, I would write something down, make an inference based on that. So we use our background knowledge a lot of times to help us make these inferences, what you've seen or what you've read before, and that's what we're going to do today. That's what you're going to see me do. Remember, this is the part that I call the I do section. This is what I'm going to do, and you're going to watch me do it, and in a few minutes you're going to do something too, okay? All right. And we can also, like I said a minute ago, use pictures, or we can even use the words to create pictures in our minds. Have y'all read a book before that was like super descriptive and you can close your eyes and listen to it, and it's like you can see it in your head? That's what we can do a lot of times with making inferences. All right, so we're going to go to the book right here. Okay, we're going to start right here. Yesterday we ended with this picture right here, and we said that it looked like he had some kind of old toy, like a Game Boy, in his hand. And what did I tell y'all that I thought was going to happen? Caroline?
He was going to take the battery out of her doll.
He was going to steal the battery out of her doll to put it in his toilet. And now today we're going to see if we're correct, okay? And also make more inferences as we're going. All right. So I'll be over here. I'll be writing up here as I find stuff. So here we go. Let's continue. Now, dolls didn't think on their own as a rule. They needed a power source, some type of fuel. In less than a second, he'd make his decision, call it bad judgment, a real lack of vision. Somehow his head didn't warn of his folly, and Charlie McButton, he pounced on that dolly. He plucked out his prize through the baby doll's dress, and Isabel Jane made a sound of distress. Now I'm looking at that picture, and I observe the doll's head on the floor. Do y'all see that? I'm going to write it up here, what I observe. The doll's head is on the floor, and his sister's mouth wide open. Remember, this is just what I'm observing. Now, I have to make an inference based on this. So what I think he's done, I think he has taken that doll apart because the head is on the floor. And I also think that he's doing that for what purpose? To find the what? Good. And his sister is furious. Do we have any words that tell us that she's furious? No. All we have is the picture, right? Well, actually, we have sound of distress. Then we see that picture and she looks mad, right? She looks really mad. All right, let's keep going. It was just a short walk to the foot of the stair where resided the McButton timeout chair. To add to this fun of his term in the seat, Isabel Jane came to play at his feet. Now, he just told us that Charlie's in the timeout chair. Y'all see that? Now, did I see that picture up there coming in a timeout chair? No. I read about it, right? So I can also use the words to observe things. Now, based on what happened, there's a break right here. It doesn't show anywhere where his mom called him and sent him to this timeout chair. We don't even know where it is. All we know that he's in the timeout chair, so that tells me that he got caught. He got caught stealing the battery. Do y'all see how we make an inference right there? It never tells us that happened, so we got to figure it out. And Isabel Jane, the battery queen, had more AAAs than he'd ever seen. They powered her puppies, they powered her clocks, they powered her talkative alphabet blocks. Y'all see how mad he looks in that picture right there? Let's keep going. Assaulted by non-stop mechanical chatter, Charlie McButton got madder and madder. He snapped at his sis with his timeout zone. How come you can't ever just leave me alone? Her eyes filled with tears and she gave them a rub. She went to the bathroom and hid in the tub. Then Charlie McButton felt totally rotten and couldn't help thinking some things he'd forgotten. Now look at them two in that picture right there. What I see is, I see his sister has tears. I also see that Charlie, based on the words, he feels rotten. Did y'all catch that word? How he feels rotten? We all know what rotten means, right? Just bad. Now, based on her tears and based on him feeling rotten, I really think that now Charlie feels bad for yelling at his sister. Y'all see how that could be an inference we make right there? Does it tell us he feels bad? No, it says he feels rotten. But based on those tears right there and the words, we put those together. And our background knowledge, we know tears usually mean what?
Sad.
Crying, sad. And look right here. See how it's red under her eyes? You know, see how big her eyes are and how her mouth's kind of droopy? She just looks like she's crying, doesn't she? And based on the words, we know he feels really bad about what he's done. Now what we're going to do is we're going to scroll down to the next page. We're not going to read the next page, okay? We're only going to look at these pictures. We're only going to look at the pictures. Tomorrow we're going to read this part. But what I see here, the top left picture, I see Charlie giving sis his, I'm gonna put sis, food. Then below that I see they're watching a movie. In the top right or the right side, she's running. He's got his eyes closed. Now my inference would be is that they're playing hide and go seek. That's my inference. But put sis. Sis running with smile. And then we see Charlie with his hands over his eyes right here. What I think he's doing right here, I think Charlie is thinking of good times with his sister. You know, it kind of makes sense. This is also an inference right here. It kind of makes sense that if he feels bad for yelling at his sister, he's going to think of all the good times that he's had with his sister. Whenever I get mad at somebody, I think about, you know what, they've done all these good things for me. Why am I getting mad at them? And that's the connection I made. So you see how I'm really thinking through all this. I'm not just looking and stopping out there. I'm looking at something so that I can observe. I'm observing so I can, what's that word? Infer. All right. So how many of y'all think that, let's look at this last one, or these last two. How many of y'all think I'm right? How many of y'all think I'm right? Okay. We'll find out tomorrow. We'll find out tomorrow. Now, what we're going to do next. We're going to go into the engage portion of our lesson. This is where you're going to work with a partner, okay? And you're going to do something similar to what I just did, okay? What did I just do? With the O word. What's the O word? Observe, so that I can, what's the I word? Infer. You're about to do that in just a moment, okay? All right, let's go right here. I'm going to pull up a picture in just a moment, and we're going to do a thing. It's actually similar to yesterday. The think, pair, share. Okay? I'm actually going to go. Let's see right here. Here we go. It's supposed to be right here. All right. So, we're going to do this right here. It says, I observe so I can infer. You're going to do what I just did, okay? Everyone grab a sticky note. The colored chair, y'all pass out a sticky note to your table. Everyone needs a pencil if you don't have one already. I asked you to have one earlier, so hope you heard that direction. You can drop your pencil right up there. Okay, right up there. Now this picture has a lot going on that you might not see just at first glance. The pictures in the book a minute ago, I could look at them at first glance, not think much about them. But when you look at this, I really want you to look at every aspect of it, okay? I'm going to give you 1 minute in just a moment to write your answers to these things, okay? Here's what I want you to do. Toward the top, I want you to write I observe. Don't put dots after it, just write I observe, because you're going to finish the sentence. Write I observe. Then skip about halfway down and write so, comma, I can infer. I got that? I'm going to set up a timer for about a minute. And I'm going to let you observe, and I'm going to let you infer. Remember, observing is what we see with our eyes, inferring is what we figure out, okay? Based on what we see. Everyone ready? All right, you're going to write down what you see for a minute, and then we're going to pair up. So this is the, what portion? Think. Okay, this is the think portion, all right? This is the think part of our think, pair, share. Ready? Go. You got 1 minute. I observe blank, so I can infer blank. Okay, very closely. You finish early, just sit tight. few more seconds. When you're done, you set your pencil down so I know you're done. Just giving me a cue to relax when you're finished. I love how y'all are thinking and people are still writing. That means we're really good at thinking hard. All right, so everyone put your right hand up and show me your number 1. Do this right here. What did we just do? Think. We'll put number 2 up. Point to your neighbor. We're going to pair. All right, so go ahead and find that person, or if you have an odd number of people, find those 3. You got 5 seconds to find somebody and point to that person. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So we all have somebody? All right, so now you're going to pair up. You have your partner. Now everyone put 3 fingers up. Do this right here. Now we are going to share with our partner or our partners, okay? I'm going to give y'all about 2 minutes to do this. Make sure that we're looking at our cards, okay? Because that's where our information is coming from. All right? All right, go ahead and start talking.
Sheets are red and because it's very sunny, and that they're having some kind of festival with pumpkins because there's a lot of pumpkins. I see that a little girl is like eating squash, and I think it's squash, and it looks like they're at a pumpkin patch and they took a break to eat, and she is, so I can infer that she's looking at pumpkins while eating squash. That's some kind of pumpkin. Probably. I observe a pumpkin patch and she is eating, so I can infer that she is hungry. I observed she is at a pumpkin patch with her parents and she is picking pumpkins, so I can infer she is not happy to be there and picking pumpkins.
I observe a girl eating a pumpkin, and there are a bunch of cars in the background. I can infer that this is Halloween and they are at a pumpkin patch.
And one thing I told Kadesh and Avery Claire that y'all probably had a hard time seeing, y'all might could see it, and I didn't notice this until afterwards. Way in the back right here, there's a woman in a black shirt that's got a skeleton on the front. How many of y'all assume that it's probably fall? Maybe near Halloween? Yeah, because what do we see near around that time of year? Pumpkins. We see pumpkins, exactly. Just look at her face. Some of y'all said she looked sad. Somebody even said she might have taken a bite out of it, just to taste it. She could also look confused. How many of y'all said confused? How many of y'all said sad or upset? Okay, good job. How many of y'all she's kind of let down, like, really, this is what I'm getting? Yeah, so we can say a lot of things, right? See, when I look at this, I think she's thinking, what in the world is this? This doesn't look like a regular squash because it's kind of yellow, right? It doesn't look like a pumpkin. I don't know, maybe it's a pumpkin squash. Maybe. Okay. So guys, y'all did such a good job on this. Such a good job. Very good. I'm very proud of you. And your sticky notes, table 1, same as yesterday. We're going to go this way and filter around back to your seats. Go put them up there on the living anchor chart. Table 1, after y'all do that, table 2, y'all are next. Okay, we're all going to enter this side near the Chromebook cart and exit around toward Mr. Woody's desk. Now, table 2, y'all start lining the time. Last portion of our lesson of the day, I think it was y'all's favorite part yesterday. And today we're doing something a little bit different. Now, there are options on here, but there's only one of these that we're going to do. Okay? We're doing number 2. Now, everyone needs their journal and their pencil. Okay? I'm going to pair you up into 4s again. I'm going to count you off. And then in a minute, we're going to go to our certain parts of the room. Okay? All right, you ready? Remember your number. If you need to, put a finger up, whatever you need to do. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, yes. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Smarter. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Y'all got your numbers? All right, here's what I want. If you are a 1, come back up to the front of the room. back up to the front. I just want you to sit down for me because we're going to have to look at the board just for a second. 2 is go to the back of the library. All right, group 3, come over to this table over here, these 2 tables. And group 4, come to the middle. Remember your journals and your pencils. All right, boys and girls. So here's what we're going to do. Be sure you're listening, okay? Yesterday I told you the number 1 goal for this to work is that we have to be respectful to one another, and we have to talk respectfully. We have to listen to everybody. Make sure we don't ignore anyone. It's called accountable talk. We're going to have a lesson on that this year, okay? On how to properly listen and talk to people. But I've seen y'all be mannerly. I've seen y'all talk to your classmates with respect, and I want to keep that going, okay? You're probably, are any of y'all the same? Are y'all the same people as yesterday? How about that? It's good to have me. Y'all see each other. So be sure everyone is listening. Be sure everyone is being heard and being kind to everyone, okay? That's the number 1 goal. Without that, this does not work, okay? So give me 1 word. What do we have to be? Respect. Well, that kind of encompasses everything, okay? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give every group a book. Everyone's going to get a book. Let me see real quick. That's all right. Here's y'all's book. All right, here's y'all's book. Here's y'all's book. And okay, now we are going to be moving around today, okay? I could move the books around, but I'm going to let y'all move around because yesterday y'all stayed in your spots. Y'all did great. So group 1, y'all are going to go from here when we rotate to group 2. No, I'm sorry, to group 2. Now you know what we're going to do. We're just going to run circular, okay? So this is station 1, station 2, station 3 in the middle, station 4 in the back. When after we rotate, y'all come to the front, y'all will go to the back, y'all come here, and y'all will go there, okay? All right, I'm going to let us move around today and see how it goes. We're doing a gallery walk. Yes, sir.
Do we keep the book or do we just leave it?
That's what we're going to leave. That's the only thing we're going to leave where it is, okay? Everything else stay with you except for your chair too, obviously. We're doing what's called a gallery walk today. A gallery walk is where we look at different books, and there's always a purpose behind it, okay? Everyone has a picture book, correct? Guess what you're not going to do with this book? Read it. You're not going to read it. You're only going to, what's our O word?
Observe it.
You're only going to observe, okay? And then, based on what you see, what you observe, you're going to make an inference based off of what you observe. Y'all can go, we can go page by page throughout this, okay? I'm going to give y'all about 5 minutes per book, okay? We can all talk and all write at the same time. Right now, what I want you to do is at the top of your page, write the name of your book, okay? Write it quickly. Write it quickly. Write the name of your book inside here. Write the name of your book. When we swap groups, you're going to draw a line below what you just finished and write the name of the new book you have below that. All right, y'all ready?
No, sir.
Not yet, okay. I'm going to set my timer for about 5 minutes. I really want you to do your best to finish these books. You know what? I'm going to set it for longer than that. You might not get every book, but I want you to be able to dive into the ones that you have, okay? The ones that we do get to. All right. I'll set it for 10. All right. Is everyone settled and ready? Okay. We're all going to have to look. We're all going to have to talk. Everyone's going to have to be able to see the pictures, okay? So let's find one person in your group that's kind of in the middle of everybody, where everyone can see the book. That person's going to hold it, okay? That person's going to hold it. All right, you're going to look at the cover to start off with. Y'all are going to open to the first page, and you're going to start writing, I observe blank, so I infer blank. Every time you go to a new picture, you're going to write, I observe, comma, or I observe, fill it in, then so I can infer, so I infer, and then fill that in. Okay? Any questions? Any questions at all? I'm going to come around. I'll be walking during the lesson. You got questions too. We good? All right, your timer is starting. You've got about 10 minutes. Here we go.
I think I go to page 1.
Talk about what you see like the same thing. Talk about what you feel like the same thing.
Are they 1? Or are they 2?
Y'all talk about taking a picture. Not an individual activity. It's a group.
I observed Thomas Jefferson.
They're getting drawn.
Thomas Jefferson and
Super important.
John Adams being friends, I guess.
That's Thomas. I mean, no.
Love how y'all are talking already. Good job.
I'd say that.
John Adams. Oh, no, that's John Adams.
Yeah.
Because he's at the bottom.
That's John Adams and Thomas Jefferson being friends. Alright, next page. I'm ready.
Well, I'm not
A violin. That's a violin.
violin or a fiddle.
They're getting sung to sleep.
I think they're the same thing.
A lid.
Guys, remember, when we're doing this, let's talk about what we're thinking. So if y'all don't have the term thinking out loud, that's what I want us doing, okay? Because whatever you see, somebody else might not see it. And it opens our eyes to look a little bit deeper. I can give you an example. You see how, Quinn, you said you think they're friends right here, right? I observe that Thomas Jefferson, right?
Thomas Jefferson and John Adams.
I observed Thomas Jefferson has his arm around John Adams. I infer that they're probably friends. Over here, I see John Adams talking to, or I see him making an expression, and other people have faces that are smiling, look happy. Here we have Thomas Jefferson who is playing a violin, and I see Z's, and these people have their mouths open, all leaning together. My inference is that they're asleep. I think my inference is that John Adams is fun and Thomas Jefferson's boring. And right here, we see that they're both having, they both have a glass in their hand and they're looking at each other with a slight grin. I think that they had a pretty good day. Y'all see how I'm observing, and then it's kind of hard to observe without giving the inference. Y'all keep talking about it though, okay? Don't forget to talk.
What does people see?
Okay, everybody done?
Okay. Make sure we're talking.
Okay, on the right side of the page, I see Thomas Jefferson and John Adams with T looking at each other
Okay. Alright, let's keep the book in the middle this morning, okay? Wait.
with their eyes closed.
You have the book, right? Yeah. Everyone's got to see the book, okay?
So what do you infer about that?
Because I don't want to sit.
For that
Okay, y'all open the book yet?
not angry with each other yet. They don't have bitterness yet.
Alright, go ahead.
I infer that
Okay, here's what I want y'all to do.
they're very good friends and like best friends.
And just write down
And-
just write down 5.
Well, yeah, I infer that they're best friends.
I wouldn't say not friends yet. Because what if you hadn't heard of it and you didn't know that they
But me, I think I say Thomas, because Thomas Jefferson probably jealous with John Adams because Thomas Jefferson they made them all go sleep and John Adams actually entertaining them. So Thomas Jefferson is jealous.
Give me 10. All right. So remember, I asked you to close your journals because I didn't feel like we were getting the full meaning out of our lesson. Where the purpose of this is to talk, okay? And y'all are doing a good job of that. But I feel like we were writing a little too much, and our thoughts were kind of staying contained up here. And I want to get them out of our mouth. So that's why we close our journals, okay? Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. All right. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to give you 10 seconds to get to your next station. And don't move. Don't move. Hang on. Let's sit back down. Let's do this at the appropriate time, okay? All right, remember. Station 1, you're going to station 2. 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 1, okay? Leave your book. Take everything else with you. We're not going to use our pencils and journals. We're just going to talk. All right, go. 10, 9, 8, push chairs in. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, y'all at the front. 1, if you're in the back, you're in the front. Spencer, y'all at the front. Okay. All right. If you are listen up, boys and girls. If you're at station 2 or 3, you don't have a seat, just pull up a chair from somewhere unless you want to stand, okay? All right. I'm going to count down from 5, and I want someone to have the book that is kind of in the center or the head of the table. And we're going to start whenever I say go, okay? 5, 4, somebody needs the book. 3, 2, 1. All right, start talking. I observe, and then talk about what you infer. Okay, get started. No journals.
Now I see a blonde-headed kid.
A girl and she has like a chalk in her hand and a board. So I see a teacher.
I see a teacher and a child gets scolded.
I observed a school.
I see a school and some kids running.
I see like a building.
I see a building with buildings and like American flag.
Doing their own stuff. So I assume I infer it's probably a school and kids like maybe at like recess or going to school or hanging out with their friends.
One girl has a book stacked on top of her head.
Okay, now you can see.
I see kids looking out the window of the school, and then I see kids playing.
I see a kid on a bike.
I see like kids and they're all like dancing, and then I see like a person, a woman at a desk with papers.
It's like they're signing up for something.
Or maybe they might be signing up for something. They might just be in the classroom doing stuff.
Maybe they're getting their text.
Can't see. I see them like answering questions.
Hey, let's talk a little louder, okay? Because this right here, let's talk a little louder so we can hear each other.
I see people like kids in a desk.
And a teacher reading the book.
Like having the book. So I infer that she's reading and they're like they might have to write about
I see someone trying a shoe. I infer that the teacher's reading a book and they're asking questions.
What'd you say about you see a shoe?
Yeah, I see someone tying their shoe up there.
Okay.
Oh, you do, don't you? Hey guys, what's the book called?
The Brandon Kid.
All right, let's look at that picture a little longer. Keep looking at it. No, the one you were just on, Sam, on the inside. Keep looking.
Oh,
I see a kid reach for a pencil.
I see him and he looks like a little scared, like he don't know what he's doing, like he knows nobody, so like, he just looks kind of like don't know what to do. He looks scared.
There's a frog on the ground or a stretchy thing.
What is the difference in all the other kids and that kid?
All the other kids are doing something. All the kids like
Stuff talking to each other, but he's just like by himself, don't know what to do.
So what's your inference right there?
That he is scared and shy.
Or he's new.
Make an inference. He's a new kid, so he probably.
It's like scared.
He is scared and shy.
And what else?
Nervous. That's what's going on.
Y'all think he has many friends?
No.
Is anyone talking to him?
No.
No. So do y'all see how all the other kids are kind of communicating with each other, except for this one little girl in the front? We could make an inference that she's what? Also a new kid. We could. Good job, y'all. Go. All right, boys and girls, give me 10. Thank you. Great job. Stay where you are. Look up here. All right, so I hope today that we got better at using our words, observe and infer. We're looking at pictures, we're focusing on what our eyes tell us, and then we're focusing on what our brain tells us. Okay, what we figure out, what we infer. How many of y'all think that after today, yesterday and today, you have a better idea of how to look at something and then gather your thoughts about it? Good. That was the whole purpose of it. I'm so glad that y'all feel that way. Now, yesterday y'all said this was fun. Do y'all think it was fun today? Y'all like this? Good. We're going to stop right here. Tomorrow we're going to keep going with literal versus inferential thinking. Okay, remember literal things that we what? We see or we can find right in front of us. Inferential things are things we have to
Find out.
think about and read between the what? Lines. Good job. All right, get your things. If you got a book.
Okay, Zach, how did you feel about your inference lesson yesterday?
I thought it went really well. The kids seemed very engaged and receptive. They followed directions. When we were doing the model read aloud, they really seemed to listen to the book. They seemed engaged and like they enjoyed it. When we stopped and when I would model how to observe something and then make an inference based on that, they seemed to pick up on it. I saw a lot of heads nodding and they seemed to enjoy it. So I think it was successful.
So during your lesson, your students were supposed to jot down what they observed and what they inferred, and they were going to discuss it and then they write it in their journal. But you decided to let the students stop using their journals and just talk. So what made you decide to do that?
I felt like that, well, to start off with, I thought the journals would be a good idea to put their thoughts on paper, to have something to look back to. But then I got to thinking, as I was walking around and watching them work, they seemed to be writing more than they were talking, and that's the collaborative time where they're supposed to be talking to one another and have really good conversations. And I felt like the journals were kind of prohibiting the positive talk. So we decided to put the journals up so they could talk more. And once we did that, the conversation seemed to become more productive. And I think it drove home the lesson a little better.
So describe the process of the lesson.
So we do the I do, we do, you do format. So the model read aloud is the I do. That's where I'm showing them how to do the skill, how to apply it. The we do is the engage session, and that's where I give them a task. They do their own work for a second, and then we do a think, pair, share. After they pair up with a partner and they share what they did, then we talk about it as a class to make sure that my thoughts and their thoughts are in the same area, although that our answers could be different. And the last part, the you do with the collaborative time, is time for them to apply the skill on their own with the group based on what they learned during the I do and the we do sections.
So that was basically how you released responsibility to the students.
That's exactly how we released responsibility.
So if you could point out one part of the lesson, what part would you say was the most important?
Probably the accountable talk. I think without respectfulness and valuing people's opinions, I don't think that the lesson is as successful as it is. Them talking together and respecting each other's opinions and being able to share different perspectives based on what they see and what they infer, I think is really, really important. Without that piece, I don't think the lesson works as well.
So would there be any part of the lesson that you may change or tweak for next time?
I would definitely not start off with the journals. I would go straight into just collaborative talking, not writing. I feel like it just took away from that time. And that's probably the number one thing that I would go back and correct.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.